You got to stop waiting for a change of world events for your fear to go away. You got to get deeper connected. So as relationships in the world today, you have to get deeper connected if you're going to push fear out of each other.
It was just a really hard stage of life. And I kept pointing at Kirk like, he's the problem. You're the problem.
And I would point to her that she was the problem because she couldn't manage her emotions and she's always upset and that she was causing problems in the family and she was causing my stress because I'm trying to provide, but we're running into challenges and problems. And we kept trying to get rid of our challenges and we tried to keep getting rid of our problems and we would just face another problem and another problem.
I kept thinking if the problems would go away, then we could be happy.
Because we wanted to be happy. We wanted to get to love. And we thought, well, the only way to get to love is to get rid of challenges and problems.
To me, my brain went, happiness and love, they're equal to each other. And so if I can, get back to the love stage, I'll be happy.
Because we literally thought it was, when we started, it was like this. We went from bliss to connection and love. But then when challenges started happening, it almost seemed like it went like this. That for us to be connected and in love, we had to get rid of the challenges and problems.
I felt like if I could get rid of those, then I can be happy.
And we literally fell into the same trap and the same misconceptions that a lot of other people did too. Well, we didn't know it. We thought we were the only ones.
And I kept thinking that Kirk was the one that was creating the problems and challenges. I kept pointing my finger and blaming him.
And we were at each other. Like we were really
ugly.
Distant.
Ugly.
I got depressed.
Ugly.
She got depressed because we were facing challenges and we couldn't get from here to here because it changed on us. Because it's like, wait a minute, it was like this, and it really felt like it got switched. Like we couldn't love and we couldn't have these great connections because now we have all these problems. And we really, this is what we thought that happened. And we were living this rough, but then when we'd go to church, we'd smile. When we'd be around people and they'd say, how you doing? Fine. We're good. How's the kids?
Fine.
Good.
Good.
You guys doing okay? Yeah. And we would act like we're here, but we're struggling in this because this got between us and love and connection.
There was a point in time in our relationship when it was so bad, so difficult. I will never forget something that actually happened. I was in a place where I was low. I was so low and so angry and sad inside of my heart and my mind. I thought our life just felt devastating to me. I felt so much blame and hate, literally hate towards my husband. And it makes me so sad at this point in time in my life now to even say that I felt that way about him, but I did. And I remember we were having this really ugly conversation. And I was downstairs where my office was, and he was downstairs too, talking to me. We got in this awful, ugly argument. And during this argument, he began to walk away from me. And I remember looking at the back of him. Now, I didn't actually really physically do this, but in my mind, this is what I saw myself do. I actually saw myself pick up a knife and I threw it in his back. And I literally stabbed him in the back in my mind.
And when she had that moment, when she was standing there,
anger was just so intense.
And when she thought the thought, I actually stopped, turned around, and I said to her, I felt that. And she said, what? And I said, you just threw a knife at me and it hit me in the back. It was so literal, but it wasn't real, but it was so energetically real. I felt it literally stab me in the back.
And at that moment, I was sick. I was sick that I could be at that level of hate. It just made me so sad.
And what drove us there is this constant dealing with problems and challenges and our fight to get rid of all of our problems. We're just like, oh no, we have another problem. Something's wrong with us.
Well, and I kept wanting to cover up the problems.
Yeah.
And just shoving them down and just like, oh, we have another problem. Just shove it down because this is too painful.
We're trying to get through that so we can be back in love. And we would, every once in a while, we would get this into our life, but then it would seem like it's so far away. And it literally was here because we did not know what was wrong. No. We could not figure out what was wrong with us.
And then we had this friend, this neighbor lived by us. And for whatever reason, it was honestly a miracle. She was like what I call an angel, because somehow she saw through this facade. She saw through the smiling and, oh, we're fine. We're good. We're happy. She saw through this. And she kind of went, Kim, hey, I can see you're going through some stuff. I could see you're going through some really difficult stuff. And I think I have a way that I know of that could help. And I went, really? Really? And so she invited me to this event. And this, of course, this is a long time ago. This is 15 years ago, maybe 16 years ago now. And she invited me to this event, and I'm like, gosh, if I for the first moment in a long time, I saw this little light, this little light of hope, and the possibility that maybe this could be the answer. And so I told her, I will be there. I will be at this thing that you're inviting me to. And so then I called up Kirk and I said, hey, Kirk, he's at work. And I said, hey, Kirk, I talked to Cindy and I found there's a possibility that we maybe could like go to this class together and we could learn some things that could help us because we're lost right now. We're lost. And it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Actually, no, it was tonight. It's tonight. And if can you please come to this thing tonight?
No, all I heard
that Cindy's inviting us to.
All I heard was it's gonna fix me, and it's a class with other people, and Kim wants me to go to it. All I heard was this is a way to fix Kirk in front of people. That's what I heard when she said all this stuff, and she's asking me to go to this function or this class. And I asked her, I said, where's it at? And she says, well, it's at this person's house. And I was like,
it's my friend Cindy's house.
This is going to be the stupidest thing. Stupid. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to show up to some stupid event and have some stupid person try to fix me. I'm like, I don't need fixing. Kim is the problem. It's not me. Kim's the problem. She needs to go to that. And that's what I'm thinking. She needs to go. Why do I have to go? She's the one who's emotionally out of control. She's the one who yells at the kids. She's the one who's freaked out and afraid. She needs to be fixed. So I told her, I said, I'm not going.
I'm like, Kirk, it's just an hour.
I'm not going.
An hour of your life.
I'm not going.
This could change our marriage.
I'm not going.
Why?
I'm not going.
Kirk, it's 1 hour of your life. This could change our life.
You know when your wife uses that certain tone and now you know it's like you probably should do it because it's going to be really bad if you don't? I heard that in her voice that time. I went, all right, fine, I'll go. Fine. So I told her, I said, all right, what time does it start? She tells me. I asked, what time does it end? She tells me. I said, fine, I'll be there. So the day goes on and it's time to get to that event at this person's house. And so I'm driving home from work and here's my strategy. I told her I would show up but I'm going to show up 5 minutes before it ends. I didn't say I'd show up on time. I'm going to show up 5 minutes before it ends so I can say I showed up, but I don't have to listen to a bunch of ridiculously happy people who are all liars and fakers about how to be happy. I don't want to hear a bunch of that crap right now. I don't want to hear that. So I drive home, and this is what? This is 18 years ago, 19 years ago?
It's more like about 16 years ago.
Yeah, we'll talk on the break. We'll get that sorted out, but it's a long time ago.
It was in 2004.
So in this experience, I pull up. It's 10 minutes before the event's over. I get out of the truck. I'm walking down the sidewalk, and I'm watching my watch, and I'm going to walk in at the last minute. And sure enough, I knock on the door, and this happy person answers the door. And I'm like, this is so irritating already. I can't stand happy people. I'm only here because Kim needs fixing. So I walk in, and they're in the living room off to the side, and there's a bunch of talking and a bunch of happy people, and they're all having a good time. And I'm just like, this is stupid. I don't want to be here. And I go around through the kitchen to go walk into where they're at. And as I pass through the kitchen, I see a couple plates of brownies. And I'm like, all right, there's a brownie. There's some benefit to being here. So I walk in, I sit down, and I literally sit down 5 minutes before the event is over. And Kim's all excited.
I was.
And that irritated me.
And I was excited because I thought,
Emotional,
oh my goodness,
who
we
is
have some possibilities here.
Who's ornery, now is happy. And it's like, okay, this is really buggy. And because I'm like, she's going to act all happy, and then she's going to tell me what I have to do, and she's going to try to fix me, and I'm going to be so ticked when she does that. So the class finishes, and I thought the person up front was absolutely ridiculous. Who do they think they are? Who do they think they are to think they know what they're doing? I thought it was stupid. So the event's over. My plan was get out of there as fast as possible. So I jump up. I take off to get through the kitchen, to go out to the front door, to get in my truck, to drive away so I don't have to deal with anybody. Don't have to talk to anybody. But what stopped me in the kitchen was the plate of brownies. I'm like, I got to grab a brownie before I go. So I grab a paper plate. I grab a brownie. And I'm like, I need two. So I grab two. Just then, all these people walk in to the kitchen. And I'm like, oh, crap, I can't get out of here. It's kind of like box can, I'm kind of, my back's up against the sink, and there's a counter, and I can't get out. And people start coming into the brownies, and I'm trapped in the kitchen. And I'm like, okay, just look at my brownie. Don't talk to anybody. Don't do anything. I got to get out of here because all these ridiculously happy people are irritating. So I'm sitting there eating my brownie. Kim's off talking to somebody, being all happy. These people are all happy. And I'm like, I've got to get away from these people now. This guy walks up to me, who is the husband of the facilitator. Okay, so he's in on the gig. So he walks up to me, and he's like, how you doing? And I'm eating my brownie, and I'm fine. And he looks at me. Like, he really looks in my eyes. And he goes, you sure you're okay? And I stopped eating a brownie. I looked at him. I said, yeah, I'm fine. And I was short with him. Right then, he kind of backs off, and he goes, whoa, you're intense. And I looked at him, and I said, I'm not intense. And he goes, wow, you're intense. You okay? And at that moment, I wanted to punch the dude in the face. I was like, get out of my face. Just get away from me. Don't look in my soul. Don't look at me. Don't ask me how I'm doing, or I'll tell you. I'll tell you how I'm doing if you ask me. And he looks at me, and he says, are you okay? And I couldn't tell him how mad I was, how upset I was, how things are not working, how my wife is driving me crazy, and she's got issues, and she needs to be fixed so my life can be happy. I couldn't tell him because I'm all these people around. I'm like, I'm not going to unload. I just don't share my problems with people. And then he reaches up and he touches my arm. And he goes, you okay? He touched my arm. What, the dude's touching my arm? And he looks at me, and I look up, and I look in his eyes, and dang it, he was caring about me. Like somebody actually cares about me. And I felt this welling up in my chest, and I felt it coming up my neck, and I'm like, are you serious? I'm going to start crying in the kitchen with a brownie in my hand, with a bunch of weirdos around me, and I'm going to start crying. This is going to turn out terrible. And sure enough, it comes up my face. It comes to my eyes. My eyes get watery. He sees it. They start dripping. I start crying. And I'm like, yeah! I wanted to jump out the kitchen window. I wanted to run like forever away from people. It's not me. It's her. Fix her. But I'm the dude standing there in the kitchen, bawling, eating a brownie because somebody asked me how I was doing. And I just stood there and bawled. I couldn't look at anybody. And Kim walks in and goes, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Get me out of here right now." And then the guy says, "You know what? I think the two of you should go to my class." And I was like, "What?"
And I said, "Well, I already signed us up."
What? He's sales pitching me while I'm emotional? This is wrong. And I looked at Kim and I said, "Don't sign up."
And I'm like, "I'm signing up.
Don't sign up. And I'm like, "How much is it?" And these people are in the kitchen. I'm like, "How much is this?" And it's like $898 each.
Per person.
$898 for her, $898 for me to go to a class that these people teach.
We didn't have money.
And it's like, what are we doing?
I had to steal from ourselves.
And I'm emotional. I'm eating a brownie and I want to get out of there. And I just start stomping out of the room.
But I knew.
I stomp out of the room. I get in the car.
Change.
I go home. She comes home and I'm like, "Did you sign up for a stupid class?"
Yes, I did.
It's stupid.
And so then I was so excited for the class. I couldn't wait. It was like 3 months away. I could hardly even stand waiting for this class. And so I was so excited that I got us a hotel room for the class.
Prison cell.
I was like, we're going to go to this class for 3 days in Salt Lake. I want to have a hotel room. We can come home from the event. We can talk. We can share. We can just, all this cool stuff we can talk about.
No, it's a prison cell and it's a cage to control me. And this is her way of caging me and controlling me so she can fix me. And I am not going. And the days clicked by, the weeks came by, and then it's time to go to the event. Now I'm driving to the event and I'm barking and moaning about this stupid class that she signed us up for, who spent the money we really don't have. And I don't want to sit there and listen to I don't know if they're a therapist, I don't know if they're a psychologist, that they're going to talk about stuff. And she's going to keep looking at me like I'm the problem. She's the problem. She's the issue. And I'm like, fine, I'll go so she can get fixed. And so we show up to the class and then they give us this stupid name tag for me to wear around my neck. And I'm like, I'm not wearing no dumb name tag. So I wrap it up and I stick it in my pocket. And then I'm like, "Where are you sitting?" And she's like, "I want to sit on the front row." And so I'm like, "You go sit on the front row. I'm sitting on the back row." So I sit on the back row with my arms folded to listen to these stupid people talk about stupid stuff about how you can change your life. And I knew they were all lying. I knew it was just a big sales pitch. Just a big sales pitch to sell you something. That's what they're going to do. Because you can't change. That's what I thought. You can't change. So I listened to the whole day. And it was a bunch of blah, 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 blah. So at the end of the day, we go back to our prison cell, the cage that she created for me to live in while she can control me and make sure I go back the next day. We don't talk that night. We go to sleep. I get up the next morning. I'm all crooked and sore because I was so stinking ornery the day before. And I'm just hating the fact we have to go to this dumb class again because it's a 3-day class and it's just dumb. You can't change. And it's like, fine, I'll go because she's believing in it and maybe she'll change and then my life will get better. So now I'm going to go in the bathroom and get ready. And I'm like, I got to just do the short version. So I just turn the water on the tub, lean over the edge of the tub, stick my head underneath the faucet and start washing my hair. And while I'm washing my hair, because I'm like, I'm just going to do this fast, wash my hair, brush my teeth, I'm done. And then I can go back to being grumpy. And while I'm washing my hair, I'm thinking to myself, can you really change? And I'm thinking this while I'm washing my hair, and I'm like, could it really happen that you can change? And I'm still washing my hair. And then I pose the next question of, can I change? Bam! I don't know where it came from, but all of a sudden this hot feeling just overcame my body because I posed the question, can I change? And this feeling starts zooming around in my body. It's almost like this really tingly feeling. And I'm like, this is weird that this is happening while I'm washing my hair. And my head's down in the tub. And I'm thinking this question. I'm having this experience. And I'm like, what is going on? And I start bawling. I start crying while I'm washing my hair. I'm like, what is going on? And in that feeling, I felt the impression, I can change. And when I said that statement, that I can change, the feeling got really intense. And it was a good feeling, and it got so intense. I'm like, you're kidding. I can change? I don't know what to change, but I can change? And this feeling just went into me and just confirmed the question, can I change? And then it confirmed the statement, I can change. Man, I finished washing my hair. I've got boogers everywhere because I was bawling and I was all upside down. I'm cleaning myself up. And I'm like, Kim's still laying in bed and I throw the door open and the lights are on in the bathroom. It's dark out there. And so the lights are shining from the bathroom out. The doors float up. I'm holding onto the towel and I'm like, Kim, get up.
Okay.
Come on, get up. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, get up. We got to get to the class.
Okay.
And I'm like, get your name badge, throw your hair in a ponytail. We're going to be first in line. We're sitting on the front row.
What?
There I am saying, I want more.
What happened?
I want to find out how I can change. I want to find out. I really do. I want to find out how I can change. You work on you. It's now about me. You do whatever you want to do. I want to find out how I can change. So we took off to the class. We're first in line. We get through the doors. We're on the front row. The class starts. There's about 70 people in the room, 50 to 70 people in the room, something like that. We're on the front row. And the facilitator says, oh, does anybody have anything to share? Man, I raised my hand.
She didn't want to give him the microphone.
She gives me the microphone because I was the back of the room.
He was like
guy.
On the back row with his arms folded the whole time. Like,
I was terrible. I was terrible. Now I'm on the front row, and she's probably like, "What is this guy gonna do?"
What's he gonna say?
I stand up, and I literally turn into this motivational speaker. Like, you guys, we got to change. We got to learn this. And I'm like this total different man the next day. And I'm like, I got this. We got to do something.
Shocking.
And I'm like motivating the audience, like listen to what they're saying. Let's take action. Let's do something.
We can change. You can change. We can all change.
And I
can change. You can change. We can change.
I finally gave him the microphone back and I sat down. And that was my wake up call. Yeah. I woke up. And I've been awake ever since. How do I change? And can I change? Can I change the shape of my body? Can I change the shape of my bank account? Can I change the shape of my marriage? Can I change the shape of my family? Can I change the shape of my life? Can I change? Can I change? Therefore, can I change what's around me? And I got on the path of understanding and learning the principles of change. And what happened to us,
changed our life.
What happened to us is we realized that challenges always happen. Problems are always there. But the part we didn't know is phase 4. How to find balance through the problems, how to calibrate, how to coordinate, how to be on the other side of problems and challenges, because they're always going to be there. And that
problems will always be there.
And that there's a phase 5 where you actually thrive. You actually can thrive. And it's like, what? You can thrive? What are you talking about? I'm just barely surviving. How do you thrive? And I didn't know that the key component that was missing in our life is phase 4. What do we calibrate? What do we adjust?
What do we do?
How do the functions of the mind really work so that I can change? And where I had been living this life where this red line was literally
covering up everything.
Couldn't even see it. Couldn't even see it. And I thought love had to be after my problems were gone. I didn't realize that love is all the way through the whole entire experience. I didn't even know about this other part of life. I didn't even know that problems and challenges are actually part of life. You know, it's like one of the issues we had is we thought problems and challenges were supposed to go away, but they never go away. Mm-hmm. The problem is you think that the problem is the problem. The real problem is thinking you're not supposed to have problems. Number 4, problems are gifts. They're opportunities. Number 5, problems and happiness are not connected. They're 2 different things. Number 6, you can have happiness
and problems.
Number 7, you can't get rid of problems. We can only get better quality problems.